If you collapsed in the heart of the wild, surrounded by lions, would they spare you or see you as their next meal? Watch this unbelievable true story unfold. What happens will shock you, move you, and forever change the way you see the wild. Watch until the end and let us know in the comments. What would you do? The scorching sun hung high over the Namib desert sky in Namibia, where the intense heat could bring even the strongest to their knees. Elias, a seasoned ranger of Zemba Wildlife Reserve, moved silently through the burnt yellow grass, his eyes alert, scanning every track on the parched earth. Recently, word had spread of poachers laying traps along the outer boundary, threatening a rare lion pride Elias had vowed to protect with his very life. Slung across his shoulder was an old rifle, though he always hoped he'd never need to use it. The blazing heat beat down mercilessly on his back, making each step heavier. His handheld radio emitted only a faint static before falling completely silent. This area was utterly out of range. He continued toward a patch of low bushes where faded human footprints marked the sand. With a mix of anxiety and resolve, Elias quickened his pace, but his body was beginning to betray him. His throat burned dry, his breathing heavy like inhaling fire, and his legs trembled. After hours of nonstop searching, he spotted a rusted wire snare hanging from an acacia branch, exactly the kind used to trap lions. As he bent to inspect the area, a sudden wave of dizziness overwhelmed him. Before he could rise, Elias collapsed beneath the fragile shade, his breath weakening in the silence of this unforgiving land. He lost consciousness, entirely alone in the wild, unaware that fate was guiding him toward an encounter beyond imagination. A deep, low roar echoed across the quiet desert, a sound as ancient as the earth itself. Elias stirred from his daze, his body aching, his throat parched, eyes hazy from the sunlight. Slowly, blurred images sharpened. A massive male lion with a mane of blazing gold stood only meters away. Beside him, a lioness with sharp but calm eyes lay watchfully, her cub peeking from behind her legs, quietly observing the strange figure lying beneath the tree. Elias wanted to back away, to rise, but his body failed him. No weapon in hand, no strength to flee, could only lie there, waiting for the inevitable. But the fearsome attack never came. The male lion took one step forward, bowed his head slightly, inhaled deeply, and let out a soft huff, like a heavy sigh. The lioness stepped closer too, but rather than strike, she lay beside her cub, her gaze fixed calmly on Elias. He was stunned, confused. But then, in the fog of his memory, an old vision emerged. Years ago, he had rescued a lion cub from a deadly trap right here in this reserve. The mother had roared in fury, but Elias had risked everything to set it free. Now, collapsed beneath a tree, Elias began to understand. The lion before him might be that same cub-grown, returned, and standing guard over the man who once gave it life. As unconsciousness crept back, Elias felt no fear. He smiled faintly. For the first time, alone in this harsh wilderness, he felt not alone at all. Darkness fell swiftly over the Namib, staining the sky in shades of deep violet. Dry, cold winds rustled the skeletal acacia branches, carrying the scent of scorched earth. Elias lay unmoving beneath the tree, his breath faint, wrapped in a dreamlike sense of being guarded by something or someone. Just feet away, the lion remained steadfast, like a living statue, his golden eyes sharp and alert. The lioness and her cub lay curled nearby. Together, the three formed a quiet circle around Elias, an invisible barrier between him and the wild night. It seemed peaceful, but danger lurked in the shadows. From the far edge of the brush came a chilling sound, the cackling laughter of hyenas, scavengers of the night, drawn by weakness, by human scent, and lion. 4. Then 5 hyenas crept into the clearing, eyes glowing in the moonlight, lean bodies moving low and quick. One snarled quietly, breaking the silence. Elias sensed the growing threat but was powerless to react. His breath grew heavier, heart pounding not from fear, but from absolute faith in the lion. And then, the lion stood. A thunderous roar shattered the air low and deep as the rumble of the earth. The hyenas froze, then began to fan out, circling. But the lion did not falter. He stepped forward with power, unleashing another roar louder, deeper, declaring his domain and the life he vowed to protect. A daring hyena crept closer, teeth bared. The lion charged. No hesitation. His claws struck with force, scattering dust and fear. The hyena yelped and fled. The rest quickly dispersed, their laughter fading into the wind. Stillness returned. The lion turned back, breath labored but eyes steady. He looked at Elias once more. There was no wild savagery in that gaze, only loyalty and recognition. Under the moonlight, Elias opened his eyes faintly. He had seen it all. A single tear traced his cheek, not of pain, but of overwhelming emotion. His life had been spared not by fellow humans, but by a wild creature repaying a silent debt. As dawn painted the sky with gold, worry consumed the Zemba station. Elias had been missing for over 18 hours. No signal, no trace. Malik, his closest friend, led a team of rangers and 2 scent dogs across the brittle savannah. The sun climbed higher, casting unforgiving heat. Silence reigned until the dogs barked they had found a scent. Malik crouched low, spotting familiar boot prints that led to a grove of ancient acacias. When the team emerged from the brush, they froze in disbelief. A pride of lions sat calmly, less than 10 meters away. At the center stood the massive male majestic, aware, his golden eyes locked on them. Beneath the tree lay Elias, frail, unconscious, but breathing. Malik gripped his rifle instinctively, but something in the lion's gaze stopped him. No aggression, no growl, just a patient look as if waiting to pass Elias back. As a ranger crept forward, the lion stepped back slightly and let out a low growl, not of anger, but farewell. The pride turned slowly and disappeared into the rising sun. Malik knelt beside Elias, hand to his chest. A faint heart, relief and tears came together. He looked up one last time. On a distant ridge, the lion stood tall, mane waving in the wind, eyes watching the team depart. A guardian, a soul fulfilling his final watch. The hum of the engine, the brush of wind, the echo of voices stirred Elias. His heavy lids opened, light. Malik's face anxious, joyful, tearful. "We thought we lost you," Malik whispered. Elias rasped a single word, "Lion." Malik nodded. "We know. They didn't harm you." Elias shut his eyes. The memories came rushing back. The heat, the collapse, the roar. The lion's eyes, not of a predator, but of one returning a life. "They protected me," Elias murmured, his voice trembling. No one spoke. The vehicle was quiet. Malik squeezed his hand. "You survived, Elias. And this story, it will change how we see the wild forever." Through the rear window, Elias saw the lion on the hill, unmoving, mane billowing, eyes trailing the departing vehicle. He did not follow. He did not roar. He simply watched as a guardian, completing a sacred promise. In this barren land, something sacred had occurred. And Elias knew, no matter how many times he returned, he would never again be alone. Weeks passed. Elias's body healed, but something deeper had been forever altered. The scars on his skin could not compare to the moment his life had been held gently by the wild. On his first patrol back, Elias paused for hours at the edge of a clearing where man and wild had no boundaries. The sun still burned. The wind still carried dust, but inside, he was calm. Then, as if on cue, he saw it. On a high rock, the lion stood edged, powerful, golden mane flowing. Their eyes met. No roar, no motion, just a silence that carried everything unsaid. Elias didn't call. He didn't move. He simply bowed his head, a quiet thank you from the depths of his soul. The lion turned, walking into the trees, but before vanishing, he looked back once more and was gone. From that day forward, Elias never truly patrolled alone. Even when unseen, he felt the lion's presence silent, watchful, devoted. He shared his story with young rangers, not to boast, but to plant awareness. The wild is not to be conquered, but to be listened to, understood, and respected. That lion didn't owe me, Elias would say, not the way humans understand debt, but he remembered, and when I was helpless, he stayed. Years passed. The story of Elias and the lion became living legend at Zemba. The lion was no longer just a symbol of power, but of memory, emotion, and gratitude beyond instinct. One twilight, Elias, now in his 50s, returned to that same cliff. The sun painted gold across the tall grass. His legs were weary, but his eyes still sharp. And once more, he saw him. The lion, older now, his mane faded, emerged from the brush, his eyes unchanged. Elias took a few slow steps, then sat down. The lion sat too, a few meters away. Man and beast, sharing breath once again. No words, no contact, only presence. Before leaving, Elias bowed deeply. When he turned to walk away, the lion remained like a loyal friend, like a memory carved into the land. Some stories never truly end, because what begins in compassion lives forever in the heart of the wild. There are truths born in the wilderness that logic can never grasp. Elias and the lion's story wasn't just about survival, it was a quiet revelation of memory, gratitude, and an unbreakable bond between man and beast. Elias never asked to be saved, and the lion was never obligated. But in a moment between life and death, a creature of instinct chose to stand beside a man. Not for gain, but because he remembered. Nature is not heartless, we simply have not listened with our hearts. A lion may not speak, but he remembers. He trusts. He returns. Because Elias once acted in kindness, his life was silently returned to him. This is the circle of love. One small act, offered sincerely, always finds its way back often from the souls we least expect. If this story has left something in your heart, let it be this. Treat nature as part of yourself. Save when you can, forgive when you must, because one day, when you are most alone, it may be the wild that holds you just as a lion once did a man. If this story touched your heart, share it. Let its quiet truth ripple out, reminding the world that love, gratitude, and connection still dwell between us and the wild. Share to keep goodness alive. Maybe you too will sow a seed of kindness for a miracle yet to come. Share this story because the heart of nature still beats quietly beside us.